The new Descendants. I recently watched the new Descendants, and it seems that everyone's having the same idea of the movie, that it's felt very rushed and that the ending wasn't all that it could be, and then it's definitely the worst in the series so far. And the fact that there's actually going to be another one is, I'm a little worried, but I do hope that they're able to expand the story a little bit more, this new world that they're trying to create, since it felt very, very flat to me. Now, this video is of course going to have spoilers, so watch at your own risk if you have not seen the movie. It is on Disney+. I don't really recommend checking it out. It wasn't very good. I'm not really going to go over the plot too much, just because I have too much storage in my phone, so I literally cannot. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the video. My first note that I made was that it's a copy of the first movie, with the dynamic of Red and the Queen of Hearts following the same idea that Mal and Maleficent did. But this one is a lot worse, since we don't really know what they're mad at each other for, other than that the Queen wants Red to kind of become evil, and then also that Red wants to kind of be her own person, which is the similar dynamic that Mal and Maleficent had. The only thing is that there's a scene where Red is kind of actually submitting, and she's saying off with people's heads, and it's kind of random because then she does a full 180 and then she's a good person again the next minute when she's speaking to the one blue-haired girl, Ella, I believe. And then again with the hair color that I just mentioned, they have these horrible costume designs where they're all kind of just one color. I kind of see what they're trying to get at. They're trying to color code them maybe to make the movie stand out, make the characters have a unique look, but it's just so off to me because they're kind of just a copy of their parents, and in a lot of ways they are. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that they did this in this first few Descendants movie, whereas Mal's purple, Evie's blue, and then Carlos is like red, black, and white, Jay's like red, gold, and then Ben's blue, gold. But the thing is that these ones, they don't really have any other differentiality other than literally nothing. They're just one color and that's it. I don't know, I don't really like it. I feel like they should have added accents and styled their clothes differently, since one example is the Queen of Hearts. Her hair is literally flat. I know Rita Ora plays her. The Queen of Hearts is not known for this. I feel like the fact that the Queen of Hearts is such an eccentric character, they could have shown that with her outfit, and she didn't need to be solid red. If anything, that makes her look more cheap, and she's the Queen of Hearts. She's supposed to be very gaudy, very elegant, so they should have made her huge, kind of in comparison to the other characters. The other characters should have been a little bit more casual, in my opinion, since they're high schoolers. And I know it's just a world and it's a movie, and the other characters in the first movies were also kind of done in a similar way, but they were much more unique. They were very had their own style, and it felt true to their characters. And in this one, it doesn't feel like their outfits are referencing their characters at all. And so that's where I'm gonna go. That's all I'm gonna say, is because I don't really want to get into character design too much. The next note I made was that the music is so uncatchy. I seriously cannot name any of the songs other than Red, 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 Red. It's the one line that I remember for any of the songs. And right after this, and a little bit before, I was also watching some of the Descendants movies. Those ones were on my mind the entire day. I seriously, I'm rotten to the core, rotten to the core, rotten to the core, whatever, nothing like the kids next door. Who could ask for more, WICKED, if only, hello. I literally cannot name any other song from this movie. It just felt like the music was stealing a lot of the plot that could have been developed further. And there was scenes where they were literally sitting in a carriage singing to each other, and it's like, what is the point of this? This could have been removed and they could have full-fledged on the characters. I'm not rooting for these characters at all. And then their bland, flat personalities, which is honestly, maybe their character design isn't so bad because it's so bland, flat, so is their characters. So their characters are just 100% one thing. For example, the Queen is just straight evil. She was actually at the beginning I kind of liked her, and then she just became nothing because she went back in time, and by the very end we don't really get much of it, so it's she did good for what she was given at the beginning. But then there's the rest of the characters that are just so flat. Whenever we see the queen, the evil queen, Queen of Hearts, whenever she's younger, she's just bubbly, like fully love hearts, everything, and then she's nothing else. And then the sister Juliana, which I feel like they should have just named her Megara. I feel like Megana or whatever from the Little Mermaid, that would have been so much cooler. But they named her Juliana. She's another sister of Ursula, I guess. Ursula has another sister, I guess. And then she's just a copy of Uma. Same thing with the Captain Hook, who's with her. She's just Uma and Hook again. I feel like they could have been so much more. Because the fact that that's her aunt, that means that like Uma wasn't even raised by her. Why is she just a copy of Uma? Whatever. And then they also expand the world of Wonderland. At least they try to, since it doesn't really get much screen time. And then there's the intro song which is literally the only song that I can remember, and even then I can barely remember it. But I just feel like the movie would have, some things that I think would have made the movie better is if in that scene they give her an I Want song instead of a like kind of running away song or whatever it was about. And I feel like the queen should have had a segment where she got her dramatic introduction, and then they should have had her say what she wanted, since whenever her scene came, it felt like it wasn't all that it could have been. I feel like that scene could have really made her character more dynamic and more well-rounded, and gave her like an evil song where she's speaking to her daughter, which they do a little bit later, but it's like not what it could have been. It was kind of just like them sitting in a carriage, and it's like, okay, now what? But I wish that they gave her a segment in that song, and maybe have her daughter have a better duo against each other. Brandy, that plot hole, she's Cinderella again. It kind of makes no sense, but maybe it's like a different universe, who knows? But then again, they're also casting like similar actors for the story, and then her son's Chad, which is like just blind casting for this area, so it's like whatever. Also Maleficent, whenever they go to the past, she's supposed to be the most evil villain of all. Like specifically in the first movie, whenever Ben mentions the daughter of Maleficent, they all kind of freak out and they're like, no, the most evil of them all. Maleficent in this movie was so not evil. She's kind of annoying to me actually, and then Hades is with her as well, which is kind of like, I'm just wondering when she became evil. Like maybe she had an evil moment after this, but in this scene it's kind of just, she just annoys me so badly. And then the ending of the story, the movie is kind of like building up, and then throughout the whole movie it's just, it seems so easy. There's no obstacles for them. They're in the room and they steal the book, they leave. It's kind of like everything just goes their way and there's no obstacles whatsoever. And then in the end, whenever they get what they wanted, it's kind of like, that was it. Like, where's more? I was really hoping that the queen was actually going to become evil. And also the fact that there was a looking glass that they could have looked at to see if the future was okay. Instead they're just like, okay, let's go, and they leave, and then the queen's nice, happy story ending. I really wish that the queen was evil still, and then they get like a daughter duo really fight against each other, since we never really get that. I'm like, it's just like, what am I rooting for? I just wish they had Red and the evil Queen of Hearts or whatever battle there, and then it's like, okay, dance scene where they're all dancing, you know, whatever, and then it's like, you didn't think that was the end of the story, did you? Like, at least follow the format. Like, I think that if they have a different dynamic where it's a different overall story, and then they have the format of the regular movies where it's like, okay, you know, twist and then dance, and then it's like, you didn't think this ended a story, then it would feel like Descendants. But this one, the vibes are just completely off, and it's kind of like, I wish they just created a new story instead of, you know, taking the Descendants franchise and expanding it, since it really didn't need it. Okay, just random things I would like to mention, that Chad is in college. With the time inconsistency with this movie, technically it's been 10 years since the first movie, therefore Chad's been in college for 10 years. And also, since they do mention that Carlos has unfortunately, also his character has passed, which I do remember some people saying that they wish his character could live on and that they could just end the movie at 3. That way they don't have to, you know, bring that up, even though they do with the cartoon, I think, but they don't mention it at all. they just continue the series after he's passed away. Okay, with Jane in that story, she's not mentioned at all, even though the fairy godmother is in this movie. I wish that they kind of had fairy godmother have some type of empathy, since she doesn't really get anything there. The movie just overall feels very rushed, likely due to the SAG-AFTRA strike from last year, and then they were likely rushing the movie afterwards. But the movie just, in the end, it just feels too easy and it feels bland. It doesn't feel like what it could have been. And then that's just like my notes on the movie. So this isn't like every thought that I could possibly say. I know that there's a lot more that like other people could definitely say, so I would like to hear your guys' thoughts down below. What you guys think of the movie, if you've liked it, if you watched it, maybe it changed my mind a little bit, or even say some things that you also didn't like. So yeah, but that is all, but that's not all, as I do also make music that you guys can definitely check out. So if you'd like to stream my album, it's Descendants, a Scandal. It's out on all platforms, all streaming platforms, so it's Spotify, Apple Music, so on, at Zaya Room. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.